In this video, we're going to solve the absolute value inequality shown here. Okay, so what we can do on the next slide is just rewrite that inequality, absolute value of 2x plus 8 plus 3 is less than the absolute value of x minus 1. And what we want to do is set the argument of each of those absolute values equal to 0 and solve for x. And so when we set the interior of the first one equal to 0, we get x equaling -4. And when we set the interior of the second one equal to 0, we get x equals 1. All right, so now what we're going to do, we're going to build a number line, and we're going to mark off the values of x at -4 and at 1. Build a couple of walls. Now, to the left of -4, 2x plus 8 is always going to be less than 0. If you want to test a number, you can test the number x equals -5, and you'll see 2x plus 8 is less than 0. So what that means is that the absolute value of 2x plus 8 will equal negative round bracket 2x plus 8, which is equal to -2x minus 8. All right. Then to the left of x equaling -4, x minus 1 is also going to be less than 0. So that means that the absolute value of x minus 1 will equal negative round bracket x minus 1, which is -x plus 1. So now when we go to solve the inequality absolute value of 2x plus 8 plus 3 less than absolute value of x minus 1, what we're really doing is we're solving the inequality -2x minus 8 plus 3 is less than -x plus 1. Now this is only true in this interval, but it is true for all values of x in this interval. Collecting like terms, rearranging a bit, what we ultimately get by adding x to both sides and then adding 8 to both sides and subtracting 3 from both sides is we get -8 is less than 6. Dividing both sides by -1 and changing the direction of the inequality, we get x greater than -6. So we ask ourselves, is -6 in this interval of all x values to the left of -4? And it is. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up to this number line, which is going to help us organize our answer, and we're going to shade in all values of x greater than -6, but we're going to stop at x equals -4 because there's, colloquially speaking, there's a wall there, but what's happening is we have a restriction at x is less than -4. Okay, let's move into the second one. Now, in the second interval between -4 and 1, 2x plus 8 is guaranteed to be positive. If you don't believe me, plug in a number between -4 and 1. Let's say 0. 2 times 0 plus 8 is definitely positive. Well, what that means is that the absolute value of 2x plus 8 will equal simply 2x plus 8. But in this interval, the absolute value of x minus 1, in this interval, we know that x minus 1, which is the interior of the second one, will be less than 0 still. For instance, letting x be 0, which is a number in between -4 and 1, we would see that we get a negative quantity. So that means that the absolute value of x minus 1 will be negative round bracket x minus 1, which is -x plus 1. Now we're going to build our wall here so we don't go past it. And now what that means is that the inequality that we're being asked to solve, which is absolute value of 2x plus 8 and then plus 3 being less than the absolute value of x minus 1, can be replaced in this interval by simply stating 2x plus 8 plus 3 is less than -x plus 1. All right, so what we're going to do now, we're going to add x to both sides, and then we're also going to subtract 3 and subtract 8 from both sides. And then we are going to divide both sides by 3, and we're going to get x is less than -10/3. Now, is -10/3 in the interval between -4 and 1? The answer is yes. -10/3 might be right about here. It's equal to -3 1/3. So it's in this interval. And what we're going to do is we're going to shade in all values to the left of -10/3, but we can only do it in the interval that we're in. Only do it to values of x between -4 and 1. Okay? Now, finally, we're going to go to the far right. Now, to the far right, a number greater than 1, 2x plus 8 is going to be greater than 0, which means the absolute value of 2x plus 8 is going to be 2x plus 8. Now, to the far right, x minus 1 is going to be greater than 0, which means the absolute value of x minus 1 is going to equal x minus 1. So keeping both of those statements in mind, we have the absolute value of 2x plus 8 quantity plus 3 being less than x minus 1 is equivalent in this interval to saying 2x plus 8 plus 3 is less than x minus 1. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to subtract x from both sides and also subtract 8 and 3 from both sides. We're going to end up with x being less than negative 12. Well, that's nice and everything, but it's purely theoretical in this interval, because in this interval, we're only allowed to talk about numbers greater than 1. So x being less than negative 12 is like saying I'm going to go to the moon. Probably not going to happen. So what we then have is a solution where x can be any number between negative 6 and negative 10 thirds. You might be wondering, how about that 4? Well, let's check it. Let's plug a 4 into the original expression. Absolute value of 2 times 4 plus 8, quantity plus 3 is less than absolute value of 4 minus 1. Now, 2 times 4, sorry, that's a negative 4. I apologize, that's a negative 4. All right, so now 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So I would be testing that the absolute value of negative 8 plus 8 plus 3 is less than, and this is also a negative 4. Sorry, I put 4 at the start, but that's supposed to be a negative 4, because what we're doing is we're testing that boundary value right there of negative 4. Negative 4 minus 1 is negative 5. So the absolute value of negative 8 plus 8 is like saying the absolute value of 0. So I'd be saying the absolute value of 0 plus 3 is less than the absolute value of 5, which is 5. Now the absolute value of 0 is 0, so I would be saying 0 plus 3 is less than 5. Is this true? Yes. Because it's true, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shade in that number of negative 4 there. And so what you see shaded in on that top number line is an interval which represents our answer, which is the set of all x element of the reals such that negative 6 is less than x is less than negative 10 thirds. And if you want to state that thing in interval notation, and we do because the question asked for it, we can say the interval for all numbers between negative 6 and negative 10 thirds. Okay, so that's how you do that question. Hopefully that was useful for you. And I wish you all the best in your future endeavors.